TwinSpark, der Motorrad-Podcast. Okay, I started the recording, so we can... Carina, you want to do the intro? Shall I do the intro?
You should do the intro because you wanted to introduce me in a certain way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so now I'm insisting on that.
I'm going to start the introduction in German and then switch to English.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge TwinSpark Podcast mit einer Neuerung. Nicht nur, dass wir wieder einen bezaubernden Gast haben. Nein, ich muss meine Anredeform gegenüber Carina modifizieren, weil letzten Freitag war der Bike Women of the Year Award von der Bike in Business ausgerichtet. Und meine Carina, ist auf den zweiten Platz gewählt worden, dieser illustren Runde. Also habe ich gerade die ganze Zeit gerätselt, wie rede ich sie an? Frau Vizekönigin, Frau Vizemeisterin, Frau Vize-Bike-Woman, My Royal Highness. Such dir was aus, Carina.
Ja, ich fand ja die Royal Highness immer irgendwie schon ganz nett. Die Second Royal Highness, of course. Und also vielleicht können wir das auch noch irgendwie so ein bisschen eruieren. Ich werde mir was ausdenken und Nein, ich werde mir das aussuchen. Aber vielen, vielen Dank für das Intro und danke und überhaupt. Und du bist natürlich in meinem Bewerbungsvideo auch aufgetaucht. Also die Leute, die da waren, die können es beweisen. Das Maiskolbenbild damals vom Enduro Action Team. Und nein, es hat nichts Schweinisches damit auf sich. Und genau, deswegen auch vielen, vielen Dank an dich, weil ohne unser Podcast-Baby hier wäre das bestimmt auch nicht so gelaufen. Und dementsprechend hat dieser Podcast da auch einiges dazu beigetragen.
Große Podcast-Liebe. Ich helfe gerne, liebe Carina. Und ich habe das Bewerbungsvideo noch nicht gesehen. Ich möchte darauf bestehen, dass du es mir zuschickst.
Ich werde es dir zuschicken und das wäre vielleicht jetzt auch gleich die Überleitung, warum wir gleich wieder auf Englisch switchen, weil es ging ja um Bike Women und wir haben auch wieder eine wunderbare Bike Woman heute im Podcast zu Gast and maybe this is the perfect time to switch in English because we just said this award was about bike women and we have a really lovely and fascinating bike woman as a guest in our podcast, and so we are so happy to have you here, dear Leonoor Fischer.
Thanks, guys. I do understand a small bit of German, but not enough to do a full podcast in German, unfortunately.
So if you want to say anything in German, please feel free.
No, that's not. No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'll stick to English. That's better, probably.
Okay. But still, I love Danish and Dutch accents are the sweetest. So I really like Dutch accent.
It is kind of similar in ways, but yeah.
So just to clarify for everyone, you are from the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So where's your home base in the Netherlands?
Actually, straight next to the airport of Schiphol in Hoofddorp, which is not that small, but it lies perfectly next to Amsterdam and close to the beach, close to the forests, and it's a really nice base to go either way.
Cool. And maybe this is also a good thing to clear up with every prejudice about the Netherlands, because maybe some people would say, there are no mountains. How can you do motorcycling there? And maybe this just leads us to our first question. How did you get into motorcycling? How did it begin?
Well, most people start because they have family or parents or anyone relative that's riding. In my family, actually, only my sister has a license, so we didn't grow up with like the whole biker family. And when I was 18, I wanted to start with my license, but I moved out of the house. I went to college, and life got in the way, so to say, and I kind of dropped the whole idea of getting my license. And 10 years later, I was like, maybe I should do it, because if I don't do it now, I probably will not ever do it again. And that's kind of how the ball started rolling as well. And yeah, it took a weird turn in a way, but I'm very happy that I got so hooked on the whole motorcycle industry that I now am a freelancer as well. And yeah, it's been a crazy let's say 2018. So almost 6 years now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very cool. And after making your driver license, did you buy a motorcycle right away, or how did it start?
Yes, it was ready for pickup a few days after I got my license.
Cool.
I was looking into naked bikes because that is one of the first things that really caught my eye. And I was like, oh, yeah, a nice naked, that's perfect for here because no mountains as well. But um, I I don't know how exactly, but I started looking at the Yamaha, the XSR 900, the Ducati Monster, and some other ones. And then eventually it came between the two of those. And I didn't test ride them. I solely looked at how the bike looked and the specs, and because I couldn't test ride it because I didn't have my license yet. And eventually, I made the decision to go for the Monster because I just loved every aspect of that bike. It is so good looking, and from what I've heard, the power and the torque and like the playfulness of the bike was really nice. And I actually started looking into secondhand bikes because there was a lot coming from Germany, so I had to import it. And I think the main reason to not buy the secondhand was because it was on an equal level of money towards buying a new one. So the 2015 secondhand, importing it from Germany would cost me maybe €1,000 less than a 2018 model from here, which had pretty significant updates. And so I decided to go with the new one, and I bought a black matte Monster 821. So that was my first bike, and it's just, yeah, I recently started writing a blog as well for my own website where I put this story in, and it's just crazy because that bike kickstarted so many things for me. I grabbed my camera again, and it kind of rolled me into the freelancing path. So it's a beautiful decision then, and it still is. Yeah.
Very cool. And did the photography come before the bike? As you
Yes,
just mentioned, you
way
pick up a
before.
camera again. So
Yeah.
did you learn that professionally, or was it just a hobby?
I wanted to do it professionally. By the time I was 18, I wanted to go to the Photo Academy, which is, I don't know if it's a private school here, but it's a higher ranked school. And I really wanted to go there. So I applied 7 times and they denied me 7 times because my portfolio wasn't up to their standards. And I tried, but I was just doing something and I just wasn't good enough. And so I said to myself, maybe I should just skip this. And so the camera collected some dust over the years, and I kind of dropped it because I was so never mind, and I'll just find something else. And to be back in that circle again 10 years later after I buy my bike, and yeah, starting an Instagram page and picking up the camera again and feeling excited and having that same feelings as all those years before was a really nice turn of events. Yeah.
So you did buy your Ducati in 2021, right?
2018.
2018, okay. Because I just was a little bit stalking on your Instagram page, and the first picture is from 1st of January 2021. This is why I'm asking.
I deleted a lot.
Okay.
When I bought the Desert X that I also have now, I started shifting some stuff, like really old stuff, because I was making a big turnaround in also my photography and mostly editing because I never edited, and so I wanted to have this one look on my page. So I deleted like all the old ugly stuff.
Totally
so
understand.
That's why.
This.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
but I would call that cheating.
No, sorry.
If you look, no, it's okay, it's good. But I had this time when I looked at my first like YouTube videos from my first motorcycle tours like 13 years ago, and they are so fucking boring. I'm like, what the hell did I think that? But I left it there as a reference that you can improve on things.
Yes,
so
definitely.
I'm still not perfect, but I'm way better than like 13 years ago.
I hope.
But still, and I think it's always humbling when you look at where it all started from and where you improved. So that's like really okay.
Yeah.
There's some progress there, but I can understand it. No, this is not my standard at this time, but it was your start back then. Just like riding a motorcycle. I mean, you started out basically after having a license, you have the right to ride a motorcycle, but you really don't know how to ride a motorcycle properly.
Exactly. That starts after you get the license. Then the whole experience comes, and the hours that you are on the bike. And yeah, I've always said, because in the first year, I bought it in June, early June, and in the first half year, I think I've put on 15 or 20,000 kilometers. And people were like, huh, why? Because I was riding in winter as well, and most of the people in the Netherlands, there are not many that drive all year round, especially on a naked bike. It's more like the touring bikes and the adventure bikes and like the bigger segment. And everyone said, you're crazy for riding that naked bike, a new monster, in the winter. And I was like, yeah, but it's a motorcycle. It's supposed to be ridden.
But it's there.
Exactly. Just clean it off after, and it's in a warm garage. So yeah, I mean, but it's just, it's I think every country has its own kind of biker things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the first tours was it through the Netherlands, or did you plan like on bigger tours around Europe?
Well, the first trips were basically in the neighboring countries a little bit. And I think the first bigger trip was through Germany, Italy, Switzerland. And then you go all the standard places like the Alps and the Dolomites. And we didn't have that much time, so we just kind of crossed through there. And it did got my motorcycle virus starting, because I was like, holy shit, I was never been in the mountains like that. I mean, I am not a winter sports kind of person, so being high up in the mountains and then having that edge where you just look over, I heard in my intercom, like, Leo, pay attention to the road, please, just because I was going towards the edge. But that was the moment that I was like, wow, this is magical. I absolutely love the mountains, and I kind of live in the wrong country for that. So I just have to make sure that I get my vitamins elsewhere for the riding. But it's really nice.
That's so cool. So can we all in all say that photography and motorcycle were igniting each other in your mind, in your brain? Did they did affect each other, right?
Yes.
So the passion for
definitely.
the one reignited the passion for the other.
Yeah, because on when I started the Instagram page, I mean, you have to, but it's nice that you can share some content. And at that time, I was kind of just wondering, like, what do I want to do? Not even to that point where I was like, I want to change jobs, but something to get my hands like working again. And I just wanted to have something as a new hobby. And so the bike obviously filled in many hours for me. But I also wanted to do something else besides. And on Instagram, it was so easy to get out, make content, post it. And I really got to know a lot of nice people through the social media channels. So it was just a nice way of picking up the photography, riding my bike, meeting up with people, and just getting to know other bikers, because in my own circles there weren't many bikers. So it was a really fun and easy way to connect with others. Yeah.
And so did you have, because you told us you deleted some pictures, so how did it develop over time that you thought about your own corporate identity, let's say it like this, or your own look and feel of your page? Was it coming with the more pictures you took, or did you make up your mind about how do I want to look, or how was this process happening?
I think it's a lot of stuff coming together. One of them being that I've always photographed, but the whole editing process was really new. And so when you start with photography at a younger age in like the not so digital area, um, I started out with like the cyber shot, the Sony little small camera with like the lens sticking out, and eventually I had an analog camera for a long time. I shot with black and white film, and got expensive, so you try to figure out something else and then come to the digital photography. But then you get the whole new world of shooting in JPEG and RAW, and being able to really dig into the layers of a photo. And I always shot in JPEG because I didn't edit anything. And once I started figuring out how to edit, which took many hundreds of hours to figure it out, even, but eventually you just find what you like and you start to develop, and that is something you are never done with. But I started figuring out, okay, I want my black parts a little bit highlighted. I want to see what the details are in the blacks, and then you go with the colors, and it's so much. And when I started editing, I also started to look at my photos a real different way, because you are more into the process, and so you see what you can do different on the spot instead of photoshopping out lanterns and like stupid things on the background. Like if you move a little bit sideways, then you can already delete that, so you don't have the editing work afterwards. And it's just so many steps that elevated the whole photography game for me as well. And that's a really nice bit, because that actually made me step up my game and make it a bit more professional looking in a way. And then you upgrade the camera, and then the steps follow, basically.
Okay.
And yeah.
It's so interesting just to see, like, it's a similar process that we had a guest on the show last year in January, Gorm Taube from Sweden.
Yeah.
He's a car designer for Volvo, but has also a very distinct aesthetics when it comes to motorcycle photography.
Absolutely.
And he usually does it on his own, like in the woods with a tripod and tries to like 10 attempts to get the framing right and the lighting right. And so it's really, you just see the pictures and it's like, wow, they look so awesome. But if you see like the effort that goes into just creating this one picture, and just you mentioned like diminishing the amount of editing work, but just get the setting and framing right to capture the mood. And I think this is something for me. It's with motorcycle riding. It's also you live in the moment, and you have so much emotions living in the moment, and to try to capture it in the perfect picture, it takes hours and hours and hours, just like you mentioned, to get this is what I felt, this is what I want to express. And but I think it's also that you want to make kind of replicate and take people on your journey. So that's maybe
if you can recreate that I think that's the biggest, it's the biggest compliment people can give me, when they say it feels like I'm there with you, like I'm looking over your shoulder. And what Gorham does is bizarre, because I know kinda how he shoots, because I have the same how do you say that, the possibility that you can connect the camera to your phone, and then you can look, and then you can tap the screen to focus on that direct spot. And it takes so many hours to even put out a series of nice shots. So let's say if you want 10 shots, it could take you 5 hours to shoot it and be ready and riding back and forth, because he also does movement. So also riding shots, and I'm like, what? it's crazy, but it's so cool to see someone put in that effort, because people often forget how much effort goes into photography. It's not just click and it's done. It's the composition, it's the editing, it's getting to know your equipment, and there's just so much more to it than just clicking and that's it.
And also
That's what many
sometimes the
think.
people really don't know how much effort this is, because when you say a series of 10 pictures can last 5 hours, to be honest, this is not the time I would have expected, and maybe this is not even the longest time someone had to invest on doing some great photography.
I mean, it's maybe an exaggerated example, but I had some moments where I was like pushing out 2 hours of trying stuff for just a few pictures. And then in the end, like, ugh, no, it's not it. Okay,
Okay.
never mind. And then I'll try again later. But at that time, it's just like, oh no, okay, I'm just so done right now. I'll pause and then come back to it. But that's also part of growing, is that you have those struggles and that you are trying to figure out what you want to do, and also in that kind of direction, because with Gorm you see his clear signature in terms of editing but also in composition, and I think that's so cool, but it takes so many freaking hours to accomplish that, and that is something people really forget.
Yeah. And also, if you look at your YouTube channel and see all those videos from you traveling, and I was especially looking like the other day, look at your piece that you did at the Col du Galibier when you just stayed at the hotel there and like went up the mountain at night, and it was totally buzzing out during the day. And like I have my pictures in the morning and I come back at night to really capture it. And then the moment when you're like waiting for the sunset and then went down the Galibier again, and I had goosebumps, not only because you captured a perfect moment, but also like the French Alps represent my most exciting motorcycle trip I have had in my life. We went the Route des Grands Alpes a couple of years ago, and I still have these pictures in my mind. Every single col we went over, and so this is like totally represents what I felt being there when I saw your video being there, and this is something that really caught me. But still, and you also say like you it's about storytelling. That's what you're trying to achieve, and I can tell you just from looking at this one content piece, I'm like, I was totally there. I was totally following you, and like I was feeling that when you're sitting on the Galibier and looking at sunset, like I felt I was sitting right next to you.
That's so cool to hear. I really appreciate it. Because that is, I think it may look easy to capture it, but it's impossible for me to know how I will be editing my videos, because I do a lot on feelings. So I don't have a plan. I just shoot what I see, and I always try to have enough content so that I can go a few ways when I get back home, because it's impossible to have a full script and to figure out beforehand what you want to shoot. And I just need this and this, and then I can always create something with it, and I search the music afterwards. And also with the music, it can become so strong to portray the feelings and for you to feel like the flashback to your own trip. And that is something I really love about YouTube. People tell you their life stories, and they take the time to watch it, to comment, and to just share their own experiences. And how many comments I've got exactly like this, like, oh, I was there and I didn't take the time to go up, and I should, and next time I will. And it's so cool to hear that people are getting so enthusiastic of seeing like 20 minutes of video, and then oh, I'm gonna go there, or I went there and it was phenomenal. And that's
and
really
actually you also supported my theory that at least one time on a trip through the Alps you have to sleep on the mountain.
yes, Yes.
First thing in the morning. We did that
Usually
a couple of
one
years ago
side.
on the when we went down through the to the Route de Grand Sabre. We slept on the Susten Pass in Switzerland.
Nice.
Up there, we're like, I don't know, 10 people, and was the 5 of us. We're like, and had this home cooked meal by the owner and at the fireplace and everything. And then we did that 2 years ago when we came back from Italy, from the Lago di Garda, and we
Yeah.
were sleeping on the Stelvio in the Tibet hut. And we got
Cool.
up at 5 o'clock in the morning to shoot some video because the sun just came out over the mountain, and we're like this one drone
Oh,
guy with that felt, and it was so worth getting up early in the morning. But if you wake up in the morning and you look outside the window, you just hear the, what's the English term of Murmeltiere, like these little creatures that live on the
the marmots.
marmots. Yeah. The whistling. The whistling. You hear nothing but the marmots whistling in the morning.
So
And
funny, yeah.
I mean, Carina lives in Munich. I live in Berlin. It's like big cities, noise everywhere. Also at night, and you're like, I hear nothing. There's nothing out there. Then you look into the mountain and you see, okay, I'm gonna ride down this mountain and nobody's gonna be in my way.
Perfect.
And the sun is coming up and it's got the perfect way. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away, but still,
no worries.
This is
but I understand
also for like creating pictures, creating videos. It's like these moments are like, you can totally relate. I can totally relate.
Yeah, that's good, and that is what I try to accomplish, but I have no idea if I'm hitting it, or it's so difficult to say because there is so much vlogging out there. There is so much content creation out there, and that is also one of my doubts if I should start on a YouTube journey, because one, you have to be consistent. Two, you have to have something else that's not already been done. And yeah, are people gonna watch it? Are they gonna like it? Do I have what it takes? I wasn't comfortable enough with videoing. Well, you have to talk to yourself on a camera, which is really weird. But it's just so many factors. And I actually had a really nice talk with Andre from Canary Ride on the EICMA in 2022, I think. Yeah. And he was like, "Why aren't you on YouTube yet?" And I was like, "Well, what the hell do I have to do on YouTube?" Like, yeah, but I think he was like very enthusiastic, and he said to me, "I think you should." And I was like, "But with what?" "Yeah, videos." I was like, "Yeah, duh." but
YouTube videos, surprise.
Wow.
And then he came up, he said to me, "Well, I mean, you're a photographer. Maybe you can combine video with photography and just document your trip and show people how you photograph." And we started talking. I was like, "Okay, maybe you're onto something." So I gave it a good thought, and eventually I went to see a good friend of mine in Spain, in Barcelona, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try. So I documented that trip and I made a short video of that, and I think I put in maybe 60 hours of editing because I was figuring out everything. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start. And then I went to the Canary Islands. I made some small series about that, and I was like, you know what? I actually like it. So I just continued, and it grew out to what it is now. And yeah, safe to say, I will be continuing with it. Yeah.
I mean, just looking at 104,000 people on Instagram and 17,000, 1,600 people on YouTube say, yes, we like it.
I'm really shocked by how well the YouTube channel, it's really growing pretty steadily.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice once I put out weekly videos, it goes a lot faster. But also here, people tend to forget how much effort, how many hours go
but
into
still,
one
frequency is king on every social media channel, but it's hard to keep up with the pace. So.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I just want to have qualitative stuff everywhere, in everything I do, and to maintain that level and be very harsh on yourself sometimes, that it's not going to be good enough, etc. Then you can come up with it in like a vicious circle where you're like, I will never be good enough, etc. And I've slowly come to terms with myself, like, no, what you are putting out is okay, and it's good enough, and just continue with that. And yeah, it's really funny how that goes, but I think I'm on the right track right now.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, I think it's the problem of people who are trying to do everything in a perfect way, because they start, or you start on such a high level. So the quality of your first video is such a high level compared to other YouTube channels, maybe, when they just start filming themselves and everything is fine, and they elevate and develop their quality level. And I have the impression that your quality was already so elevated and so high that it's, yeah, of course you could not uh, break down in a way of lacking this quality. And so I can totally understand this pressure of yourself. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I really don't think it's a good video. I just think it's like, oh man, that is so. But it's, I mean, for a first video and not having any understanding of video settings, I just shot everything on like the standard settings, and now I kind of figured out what is working and what comes out more beautiful. But still, video is very different than photography, and I have a lot to learn in that direction. But yeah.
And also, if you talk about the effort that goes into, we have to talk about the amount of equipment you carry around on a motorcycle. Let me just do an estimate. There's at least 2 GoPros, one filming forward in your chin, one filming backwards yourself when you're talking. There's an Insta360. There's a DSLM camera that you have around your waist. There's a drone. What did I miss?
No Insta360 because I don't like that.
Okay, sorry, then I missed it.
But no, you were spot on. Yeah. 2 GoPros, a drone, and my Nikon.
Yeah.
And with the Nikon, I also started filming a lot more. The camera is amazing, and I can get so much quality out of it. So I started experimenting more and more when I was on the UK trip. And there I was like, why am I not filming with my Nikon? Because that is so much better than the GoPro, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should get more creative. But at that time, I was kind of, well, not forced, but I had maybe 5 or 6 days. And I really wanted to push everything in those 6 days because I had to get back to the Netherlands for work. And I said to myself, okay, this is not what I'm going to do anymore. I don't want to squish everything into a certain amount of days and not have the time to get creative because it really kills my flow. And at that time, I was like, okay, next time I'm going away, I really want to have the time. I really just need the space to create because then it will benefit my whole video as well. And that's what I did on the 2 month trip last summer. I had roughly 4 weeks for the French Alps. I have no idea what I was going to do after. I decided to go to Swiss to cross a time between having to be in Bologna for the next trip. And so I was like, oh, it's so nice to not have to pay attention to every day and every single hour that I put in, and just can say to myself that I want to finish my day around 3, maybe 5 max, but not like 9 in the evening, and then have to find an accommodation and transfer all like 200 gigabytes of data, and then being asleep at 12 and the alarm goes at 7 again. It's just, it's too long. And
sounds like a tough day of working, right?
It is work, and people think, oh, but you are away all the time. How nice. It's really nice, but it also is just a lot of work.
Absolutely.
So that's what I must not forget.
So, so if you tell stories like this, it comes to my mind, you're always riding alone, right? Or
almost,
because sometimes, so I'm really not a photographer. I sometimes like to take pictures just as a memory, but sometimes I'm riding with people who are really annoyed if I stop every 2 hours to take some pictures, or on every top of the hill to take some pictures. And And in some cases like yours, maybe the traveling partners have to be some kind of patient. Or how are your experiences with the traveling partners?
That is the biggest reason I started doing this alone. Me and my partner, we went on different trips together, and I was always also working. And just, I mean, he doesn't mind riding up and down, and he's the most patient guy ever. But he was like, it's also nice to just get going. And then I felt guilty because I was like, but I really have to stop here. I kind of need this picture for like my story and my article. And I was like, oh, this is not working.
Okay.
And it just, yeah. I mean, I feel guilty for having to let someone wait the entire time. And it just kills the whole flow of a holiday. And it just felt more like work. And that's when I decided, okay, I need to do this separately. Because then I have the freedom. I'm not bothering anyone. I can just do my own thing, and I can stop for 2 hours on one spot to make those 2 pictures and then just continue again, So yeah, that's a big reason why I just travel alone. And a lot of people don't understand that it's actually easier to do it all by yourself. Yeah, but someone can help you. I was like, no, I'm totally fine. I'm really okay. I know my workflow. I know what I can do in a day, and yeah, I'm loving every second of it, but it also is work. And
yeah. And also, if it's just as you described, like from your UK trip, wanting too many things at once kills the flow, doesn't improve the quality of the output, and doesn't improve your experience. So if you really say, okay, if you're okay with yourself, okay, I'm just traveling, I don't know, 150K or 200K a day, but I have the time to, oh, this is nice. Oh, that's a good lighting. I stop here and set up a tripod and drive 10 times past it to have like this action shot or something like that. If you're okay with that, and I'm still struggling to get there because I want I'm in the position where I want to travel lots of things. I want lots of see lots of things, but also take pictures and film everything. And it's not going well together. So I have to still figure out my flow. I have very patient companions that travel with me, but still for myself, I have to really find like the sweet spot between them both.
And that can take a long time, but I'm sure that you will get to that point. And even now, I'm also struggling with how much do I need to make a video interesting, so to say, and how much can I take on a day before I like burn out after a week. And I also did some resting days in between now this past trip, and it was really perfect. Just if it was too shitty weather, I just stayed in on a campsite an extra day and be like, okay, I'm just gonna unwind a little bit, have some work done, reply to some emails, and just figure out what kind of content have I already shot, what do I need. And it also gives a lot of peace of mind to have that time. And I'm very aware that not everyone has that time. I mean, I'm very lucky I can just go away for 2 months and have some jobs prepared and then be able to go and do the rest on the spot. And I wouldn't say a luxury position because it did take a lot of work, but it is a position that I'm very grateful for that I can be in.
And I think it's also about making conscious decisions.
Yeah.
So, and I just had that on Sunday. I had like new tires on my BMW, and I wanted to ride them in, and I didn't take any equipment, no action cam, no drone, no nothing. Okay, I have this. Yeah, I know I have my smartphone and I have this helmet cam, so in case there's some picture come out, I guess but it was a conscious decision. So now I just got to make my bike dirty today. So I'm going to ride in these two tires. I'm going to find some stupid road through the woods with lots of mud and like plow through it. That's the mission of the day. And of course, I did like 10 pictures, but still, my wife was like, you forgot your drone. No, I don't need the drone today. It's just about riding today. And this is also self-liberating. So no, it's just about riding, not about anything I want to do. Of course, you never don't take any pictures, but it's not the purpose you set yourself for the day.
Exactly. You shift the focus. But does it feel weird if you don't go out with all the gear for you? Because for me, it sometimes does. I'm like, oh, I feel naked. Like I miss
it's kind of like
my
that.
bag, I miss all the cameras, and no, I don't have to today.
I forgot
That's
my
nice.
wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that, but also it's like and I've been riding motorcycle for like 13 years now. After 13 years, I'm slowly getting there. From over documenting everything to like, yeah, fuck, let's ride.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's liberating in a way. That's nice. Yeah. Not to have that pressure of having to do something, but just just go out and enjoy.
Yeah. So we do have to talk about your motorcycle. I want to talk about your motorcycle.
Okay.
about the because you told us about your Ducati Monster, which you still own. What I heard, the black one.
I have it. Yeah.
Really nice. Really good, nice matching helmet and goggles.
Yeah. A little bit in the back of the garage at the moment, but
but still, I like the style. But then you ride a Ducati Desert X as your travel bike. It used to be like the original white.
Yeah.
But now it's a beige with matching gear. So what's the style decision on that? How did it come about?
It was actually pretty funny because I had this a bit of a pastel, soft greenish tint in mind from the get-go, and I was like, no, I think I will get bored of this color pretty quickly. The same with the we call it like the fashion colors that are very hip at the moment, but then everyone's like, ugh.
The colors that only women can pronounce, like taupe or mauve or
no, but just like I mean, every tint of gray was very popular in a lot of bike designs the last couple of years, and I was like, I'm not gonna go with light gray or anything because that's
gray.
already been done, and exactly. And I just thought to myself, I'm gonna get so bored with this green, and how do I combine it with gear? Because I am a bit of a sucker for matchy stuff, and I really like the looks as well.
We like it.
I thought, yeah, exactly. And so I was like, no, I really should change the color. And the Desert X, I'm looking at my second screen where I have like the big photo of my
I'm
bike.
Just watching your Instagram feed because you have so many pictures of it.
Yeah, exactly. And the original one, it came out with the striping, I believe, a white and a black, or black and
red,
gray, and black.
Yes.
And I was like, this cannot be a coincidence. A bigger and a thinner stripe, and that's the striping I put on my Monster when I customized it. And I was like, that has to stay. But I want it to be more clean. I wanted to have a more unique look. And so I really loved the Enduro Multistrada, like the sand-colored one. And I was like, that would be sick if I would put a sand color on the Desert X. Desert, sand.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
That's when I just started photoshopping, blacking out parts, and I knew that I would be coding a lot of parts as well. And I was like, yep, this has to be it. So I waited for like 8 or 9 months to have it all done, because I had to move immediately after I got my bike, put the 1,000 kilometers on it within a few days, and then surface, and then I went away for 6 weeks. So then winter hits, and I was like, okay, maybe I should do it after the winter. But yeah, the sand color, it really sticks to me and still does. I absolutely love the design, and it's super clean, and I don't like all the busy sticker kits and just
and I totally dig the Moscow Moto paintings you write, right? Yeah,
the bike
with the bike, and
that's pure coincidence. That is like. It's perfect.
Carina also knows the story. My BMW F800 GS has this Kalamata metallic olive color, and yes, I had to buy a matching suit, which unfortunately was only available by Bellstaff, so I bought the Bellstaff gear.
Oh, poor boy.
Everything for the color. Huh?
Talking about fashion big things, I am one.
Yeah.
So, but still, it's a really nice gear, but still, it matches the bike.
Very important. Hey, I don't judge.
Yeah. It's a safe place here. I can talk about this
Exactly.
openly.
Yeah.
I just have to mention one thing because it's really one of my highlights of your Desert X, because you have the original double striped Ducati lettering on your Monster as well as on the Desert X. And this is, for me, it's kind of a heritage thing of Ducati, which makes me totally happy to see.
Yes, I love that logo. That's by far my favorite logo of the Ducati brand.
Absolutely.
It's even now it looks, I'm looking at the picture again, but even now it's just such a classic and modern feel to it. And it fitted the Monster with the striping perfectly. And I was like, I really want to bring it back on the Desert X as well. Because the logo on the original placing was so weird, and when putting on crash bars, like the logo just disappeared, and I was like, I need to bring it up.
Absolutely.
So I put it on the screen. Yeah.
And also I think this looks quite modern, despite the logo is the original one from decades ago. This is really a cool thing which became modern again. So
yeah, exactly.
it's really
cool.
I
love it. It's a small touch. So very cool that you also notice it. Yeah, that's
Absolutely. Cool. So why did you decide for the Desert X? Is there so first question, is there anything but Ducati in your life? Or was it obvious to choose to opt for the Ducati?
Well, I mean, I'm not exclusively Ducati. It just happened that they designed two bikes that I really fell in love with.
Yeah.
And I did look at the Tenere and some other off-road adventure bikes, but then this one got presented as the concept bike on the EICMA. And I was like, holy shit, if that comes out, I am sold. I love the retro look. And I know that, the bikes like Africa Twin, and they all have this kind of retro feel nowadays. But this one just, it popped out. And I mean, it wins on looks of everything.
And I think everybody was at EICMA drooling about this bike.
Yes.
Me too. I was like, I want this.
It's such a phenomenal look. And I don't know how to explain. I just instantly fell in love. And I think I also said when I picked it up to my dealer, like, this is the dream bike I never thought I'd dream of. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's such a great bike. Yeah.
Cool. That's so cool. I really love the looks of this bike. So it's this kind of what touches my heart most is the round headlamps, because this remind me so much of the old Africa Twin also.
Yeah.
And of course the Lucky Explorer and the Kajiva Elephant and everything. But all those cool and retro rally bikes have the same looks. And I think it's a cool way to transport this to modern ways of riding.
Yeah, and you see it with a lot of brands that they really take their inspiration from years ago, and I think it's such a cool vibe that the whole the whole adventure segment is getting into that retro kind of style bikes again, and I love it. I'm a big fan.
So cool, really. So your because with the Monster, it was primarily on road bike. So did you start going off-road with a Ducati, or was it just before this, or how did this traveling off-road thing come to your life?
I did have some off-road trips, bits and pieces with the Monster, but obviously it's not an off-road bike. And we were just laughing and cackling and like, oh, on your Rosso 3 tires, like, and I was like, But the main reason I went for an adventure bike was because I was getting a lot of sore muscles in my necks and like my wrists, and everything was just starting to hurt, and I needed to get more gear on the bike to take with me. Obviously also the equipment that I shoot with, and it was just getting not so manageable anymore to get it all on the Monster in 2 dry bags and like strap it down, and then
absolutely,
it was just So all the more reason to start looking for a bigger bike with more possibility to put some luggage on there. And yes, I did wanted to start with off-roading, but here in the Netherlands, it's getting more and more difficult because they close down a lot of stuff. Like the woods is not overly accessible, and motocross tracks get closed pretty soon. So it's just a lot of things that made me a little bit doubtful. Like, is this the right call? What do I have to do with an adventure bike? Because I'm not being I probably cannot go off-roading here, so I first have to travel for hours to off-road somewhere. And yeah, I just thought, well, you know what? It's also a matter of comfort and getting all the gear with me and just having a nicer sitting position. I did 12, 13 hours on the Monster a day, but it's just left me broke.
My deepest respect. Really.
But with this bike, it's like, I'm not gonna say it's a walk in the park, but it's so much more relaxed. And also, it's a perfect travel bike. Even with the 50/50 tires, you don't feel that it's a slightly knobby tire. And it's a perfect travel companion for what I do with it. And last summer, I did do some more off-roading. Also because I wanted to wait on my lowering kit, because I am not the tallest. The bike is very high. And even with all the luggage on, which was a lot, I still did not have the confidence to get really into the off-roading. It's a heavy bike. I can pick it up without the luggage pretty easily, but with luggage it becomes a whole different story. So there's so many factors in which you have to be a little bit cautious. So I just wanted to have everything right before I started with the off-roading, and it was a lot of fun in the end. I did drop it on the Parpajonkel. I didn't get it up because it was over the tipping point, and then 3 Belgian guys came up, and he was like, "Oh, this doesn't look good, does it?" And I was like,
well.
Hello.
But yeah, we had a good laugh, and they encouraged me to follow them. And I was like, no, I'm going to turn around. I think I had my portion of the day, and they were like very supportive, and they took me all the way up, and we had such a nice day. And
take it from Carina and me, it is really worth getting into off-roading. We like it a lot. We can highly recommend it. And if you're looking for places to go, come to Berlin. There's
really?
lots of around Brandenburg. Around you can ride legally off-road on a lot of roads.
Really?
And if you had enough here, you cross the border to Poland, and they're even more liberal in Poland. To I'm going to do a tour in like 2 weeks' time, like 3 days off-roading from Berlin to the Baltic Sea through Poland.
Wow.
And
that's nice.
It's like 60-70% off-road. I haven't ridden it before, but I'm very curious to find out.
Yeah, that is so cool. Because I thought in Germany, off-roading overall is kind of hard as well.
Yeah, if you're in Bavaria, like where Carina lives, you get shot at while traveling through the woods. Yeah. In Brandenburg, you're like, as long as you know the tree and hug it, it's okay.
Well, that's very comforting.
Unfair, yes. So
okay.
I have to rethink my place of living sometime.
No, you don't. You live closer to the Alps. Don't complain.
Not really.
Don't complain.
No, but
8 hours from the Alps.
Yeah.
Okay. I won't complain. But one guy from Berlin asked me 2 weeks ago, so, hey, why do you stop riding over the winter? And I was looking at him. Hello? Hi, we have snow. Oh, yes, I forgot. I'm sorry. We don't have here in Berlin.
Sometimes. Oh. But coming back to the French Alps, I have to ask you this. So not only from your last trip to the French Alps, but what was your favorite place or route so far that you've rode and you were feeling like, wow, this is so cool?
Do I have to choose?
I give you 5 options. Man. Name 5 options.
But in the French Alps, or
generally? But if it helps you, just choose the French Alps.
I mean, Swiss is so far on the top of my list because it's just extraordinarily beautiful there. But for the French Alps, I've just made a top 10 of passes for my website. And I already forgot them a little bit, but top 5, I don't know if you know the Lassettes, the Montpellier. It's a very small rope, but it's so much fun. It's like hairpins really tightly stacked, and it's just the width of a bicycle path. It's very fun. Also, the Galibier, of course, that's one of my favorites because it's also so far stretched, so you can just go. And then the Lauterette side is probably more of my favorite than the Telegraaf. I think the Telegraaf is a bit boring, so preferably the other side. Yeah. Bonnet is one of my absolute favorites because I also have a lot of nice memories there. And riding there last year, I kind of broke down because I was like, oh my God, living the life. And just it came all a bit to the inside at that point. But Bonnet is one of my favorites because it's so beautiful. And the landscapes, when the sun hits it right, it's magic.
Yeah.
French Alps, the standard ones, the Isoar and the Iseran, they're very beautiful, but it's not that wow factor for me. Of course, they are beautiful, but let's see, what do we have? There's one, I don't know, I don't think it's the Madeleine, but I think it's the Madeleine in the Pyrenees. I always mix them up because it's like you enter this sort of hobbit village. It's a really kind of green valley, and I was there when it was really foggy, and it was like, oh man, I'm entering a fairy tale here. But I think it's the Pyrenees.
Yeah, the Col de la Madeleine in the French Alps is more close to Albertville, which is a nice pass to ride, but
exactly.
and you look to the Mont Blanc if you pass over the north side. So that's really nice. Really nice picnic spot there. I can recommend that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no hobbits there. It's probably Hobbit Village is Pyrenees.
Yes, I think so too, because I always mix them up. But I mean, French Alps is just in general such a beautiful and a really nice mixture of like the rocky summits, but also the very green summits. The Pyrenees was very green overall, and with the French Alps, you have a little bit of more differences, which I really liked. So it's I mean, I have to grab my top 10 to see the other passes, but those are some of my favorites for sure. Yeah,
I can. Yeah,
and yours?
I can totally relate.
For you too? Like, what do you like to ride?
I think for me, it's like a lot of passes I really loved and adored, but it's the moment you experience while being on the top, and this one moment that sticks out, which is also on the Col de la Bonette.
Yeah.
When I was we did the tour on the French Alps with like with 5 guys together, and the one day we rode was like also it was kind of gravel roads, back roads, small passes, and it was really hot and exhausting. And then we were like down the valley, had a stop for a cafe, and the other guys were like, "Oh, we're gonna take a shortcut and go right to the place we had an apartment for the night." But it was the day where we were about to ride the Col de la Monette, and the 3 guys rode directly to the apartment. And my longest friend Thomas, we were graduating from high school together, and he's one of my best friends. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go with you." And so the 2 of us ride this tour of the Isla 2000 and then Col de la Monette up. It was like 6 p.m. when we went up top on the hill of the Col de la Monette in the evening light. And we stood up there after all this impression we had, like for like 5 riding days before, stood there looking to this landscape with the perfect lighting, with your best body on your side. And I was like, this just got tattooed in my brain, this moment. And then we were so overwhelmed. And then in the end, we rode down, and then we got caught up in a flock of 1,000 sheep. I kid you not. It was like literally on the road. We like had stopped the motorbikes. And we're like thousands of sheep, and the shepherd dog was jumping at us. So happy to see us. It was such a. And then it was this moment de grandeur on the top of there, and then it was a funny moment like going down it. And it was a combination of everything. I was like, that's why I ride motorcycles, to experience such feelings and see such great places together to share it with other people. So this is something this is one of my fondest memories. So now Carina had to think about her experience. So
oh boy,
very, very curious.
So you just were saying Isola 2000, and this is Col de la Lombarde, where you pass this. This is the one I really remember because I had to slow down because the landscape was so amazingly beautiful. So Col de la Bonnette is also impressive, I think, because of this stony summit above there, and it was windy, and it was really crazily impressive. But Col de la Lombarde was like a different world to me on this tour. But to admit, I only was once in the French Alps last summer for 2 weeks, and so I tried to show you my Google map, because I always put a heart on the beautiful spots where I already have been, and a flag where I want to go, and there are more flags than hearts. So
you have some. Wait, I'm gonna show you mine, because I've been starting to do exactly that. Not with hearts, but I started pinning, and it's. I must say it's the best thing ever, because it kind of motivates you.
Yeah.
So this is Swiss and France.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And when I zoom in, this is where I've been on the last trip.
Oh my God. So, crazy. So for all the guys who are just listening and cannot see, there is you can follow the summits of the French Alps from maybe Switzerland to the sea. And there are millions, tons of landmarks there. So you can you cannot see any summit on the card, because there's everywhere a mark. And this is my life goal, to be honest. That's so cool, really.
But it's not only mountains, it's also the restaurants where I've ate, where I slept, like quirky things, like I don't know, some kind of stupid fountain that I have to find back for making an article. So it's basically everything. And I also started a My Maps, because there you can have like the different symbols and the colors, but I was like, no, never mind. Too much work.
I just wanted to say, there is some point in my life where I have to categorize the restaurants from the summits, from the hotels, from the camping spots. But I really, at the moment, I'm too, it's not the right time now.
No, exactly. But it's a nice touch to put in a heart where you've been, and like the pin where you should go. That's cool. And then slowly watch it fade over to all the hearts.
Yeah, so more hearts mean more good stuff, more good stuff experience.
Memories.
Do you sometimes watch your Google Maps account and wonder where you've already been, how many spots there are on the map?
I have no idea how many things I've pinned, because I've also pinned maybe half of it. I've just forgot to pin, because I kind of started doing this 1.5 years ago. So I've been to the Pyrenees, the Dolomites, the Swiss Alps, the French Alps, kind of everything in between.
Yeah.
And I only started pinning the French Alps and the Swiss Alps. So everything in the Dolomites, I don't have pins of it. Everything in the Pyrenees, I don't have pins. So I kind of need to go back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my pinning map of the Dolomites.
Oh, wow. Those are a lot of hearts already.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, that's a day trip from Munich, if you're good.
Yeah, no, exactly. For me, it's 9-10 hours ride, but still.
Really, it's amazing. And I really can recommend, if you want to go to the Dolomites in the summertime, there are so many travelers, many cars, many motorcycles, but you can experience the most beautiful light landscapes, trees, and colors if you go there in fall. So September, October, this is really, for me, the most beautiful time of the year in the Alps and in the Dolomites. Also with the fog who's raising up the mountains and the beautiful yellow and red and green trees. So this is really amazing.
For me, that even adds so much more to my pictures as well. I was in Swiss last year in, I think, mid or end of September,
Oh
and I
boy,
did not expect the colors to be popping because I thought, okay, I might have already missed it or it still needs to come. But I was on the Albula, for example, and it was like bright red and orange, and I was like, what is this? I was so caught off guard, but it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
So good.
So to anyone listening or watching, please visit the mountains in autumn. It's outer worldly. Is that a word?
Sometimes it's really, I really wonder how this could be even possible. And then it's like you said before, both of you, the beauty of experiencing all those smells in the air, the fresh air, the windiness, the trees, and everything. It's so much more intense on a motorcycle, and so you can really live through the nature and ride through the nature, and it's so much more impressive.
Yeah. 100% agree.
And especially like the colors in fall, I really love that. It's being from a like creator point of view to see that, and there's still some moments where I ride like in fall where like it's maybe like early November when it's like, okay, tomorrow's gonna be clear sky and a good sun, and I just ride out to like an hour north of Berlin. There's a big lake, and it's like a beechwood forest around. And if you have like and it's like sometimes just a week where the leaves turn like bright orange and red before they fall,
and
it's and we have a little ginkgo tree in the garden out, and that's exactly this one time the leaves turn like yellow, and there's one day he drops everything. And you have to like hit the spot the day before he drops everything. So if you have that moment and riding out also in fall, even if like single degrees in the morning, just grab an extra layer and go out there.
Exactly.
It's and also we have like the silent moment at the side of the lake. It's just get the drone out and get the on top shots when you stand around.
Yes.
It's just this little road at the side of the lake, and like with the bright colors, and it's worth every minute out there just to capture this one image. Because then this is something you put in your desktop and you look at it like for the rest of the year, like, oh, that was a nice moment. I want to relive that again.
And then you go out of bed at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. you're ready to watch the sunrise, and
So
it's so nice.
I have a traveling question for you. Did you ever travel with a car?
Like I do now with the bike, or not really, because I got my car license 2 years before my motorcycle license. I just never I just never had the urge to get my car license. At one point I was 25 and I was like, if something happens and I am the only one that is like not in an emergency or whatever, I cannot ride. So that was like, okay, I need to get my license. And so I was 26 and then I got my license. I did one trip to the south of France for like a surf vacation. So I rented a car and then I drove all the way to the south of France and then all the way back 2 weeks later. And that was probably the only trip I really did in a car.
Okay.
Not that much.
Because concerning all the gear you have on your motorcycle with the cameras and the drone and everything, wouldn't sometimes some people, not especially us, but some people would imagine it would be easier to just carry it with a car and to do photography while having your normal clothes on and being a bit more comfy and not stopping the bike, getting off the bike, getting out of your luggage gear, the camera and the drone and everything. So did you ever think about something like this?
No, what's the fun in that? Yeah, of course. I cursed myself on a daily basis, like, why am I doing this? But when I like to climb up a mountain, I just park the bike, climb up a wall or whatever to just get that aerial view. And then oh, I should really document some of the stuff I do too. I think I have some of the stuff in my videos as well, where you see me climbing up a steep path and then
behind the scenes, how this picture got taken.
oh, because I lose a lot of weight on my holidays, on my trips, because I'm just running around like crazy and with all the gear and like the motorcycle gear on, and then it's 35 degrees and you're sweating, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because it's also part of what I love to do. And yeah, of course, getting in a car and just being in your shorts and like a tank top is way easier and way more comfortable. But yeah, it's just, I think it only adds to my trips in a way. But I never got that question before, so I think it's a really nice question.
Um, I
Yeah.
think everyone who loves riding motorcycles and doing longer trips on a motorcycle will get to the point where you curse yourself. So
Yes,
especially
of
at
course.
35 degrees, when you wear your full gear and you think, oh boy, my next hobby will be beach volleyball.
But this is also part of the experience.
Yes.
But it's only fun
And then you're
afterwards.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
I mean, there are countless of times where the cameras are not rolling, of course, where I'm like, oh, just sitting. And then I shot some scenic footage, like some B-roll, that I'm chilling in the grass, eating my sandwich, which I am. But you don't see the 2 hours of just chilling in the sun
Yeah.
that follows. And I mean, that is also for me what keeps it fun, that I now have that time and that I'm able to just lay in the grass for an hour after I got the drone up and made some pictures, and then just really enjoy the moment. Because I did get a couple of questions from just people at events, like, yeah, but you only set up the camera to pretend as if you are sitting and really enjoying. And I was like, no, that's really how it is. But yeah, of course, if you don't show that, then that's also part of you feeling that you're there, I think. And it adds a kind of cinematic touch to it, and also the b-roll. And yeah, just to focus, I have a lot of shots where I blur myself, so to say, and just focus on the background, so that the mountain in the background is sharp and you just see me sitting in a corner eating a sandwich, but the focus is on the background because that's the view. And stuff like that, it takes time. So I could be easily finish my sandwich 3-4 times already in the time that I have my shot. But I think it's very important to also show those kind of things, because it adds to the atmosphere that I'm trying to create for you as a viewer. And yeah, it's just a bit of both. I truly enjoy every moment I'm out there. So yeah.
And also this makes it relatable. So if we only watch nice pictures from mountains, yeah, we could go on Google and everything is fine. But I think it's
Yeah.
so important to have a person you can identify with, or with the situations, and also these outtakes, or these off scenes where you are climbing or sitting or maybe sweating and swearing. I don't know, but this is. Everyone knows this feeling and everyone feels it on his own trip, and so I think it's very, very likable and very maybe the most important thing about a travel trip, because or a travel video, because it's about you as a person who's doing this trip, and I want to relate with you and feeling the same things that you are there right now.
Exactly. And I think every biker can relate with having a summer trip. And I mean, let's just say most of us are fully in gear, and even a lot of bikers I see in my trips are like fully covered in textiles and have like a buff on, or even like the balaclavas. And I'm like, whoa, respect in 40 degrees, which I had last year. But everyone knows that struggle of having layers of gear on and then just be like that when you sit on a terrace somewhere having a cold drink and be like, oh, that's nice, So yeah, I don't mind getting my hands and my head dirty, and that's just how it is. And of course, I try to focus on having a certain picture, but I also want to keep it real because that is how it is on a trip. It's not only, oh, look at me sitting pretty here and then
perfect makeup in here.
No, oh no, I don't wear. I have a little bit of mascara, but the rest, no. The helmet gets dirty from dirt, not
no 5
makeup.
kilos of makeup in your top case.
No. Definitely not.
We know persons that have 5 kilos of makeup in their top case.
Well, not me. I mean, to each their own, but no, not for me.
Yeah.
No.
But looking toward the future, you have experienced so many beautiful things which you shared with us. Thank you for that. What does the future hold for you? What's on your bucket list for the next years?
Well, some of the trips that are coming up. The first one I recently posted it is the Dolomites. I'm going back. I have been there 2-3 times for a longer period of time, but every time I was like, oh, I just need more time. And now I got the drone as well. And I was like, I need to go back because Dolomites are one of the absolute favorite mountain passes in Europe. And I think many bikers can relate. And there's just so much to still discover there. Also for me, because I've passed through many times going to Milan or Bologna, but yeah, even the 2-3 weeks I've been there already, but still there's every time, and that is what I discovered now in the French Alps, there is so much still unseen. And when you come back again, you're like, oh, how did I miss that last time? It's so obvious. Like Col de la Moutière beneath the Bonnet Col, it's like the off-road pass, and when you're standing on the Cime de la Bonnette, you see it. But I was like, oh, whatever. Never paid attention to it. And this time I rode there and I was like, what? This is so cool. And you just see new things every time. Also with the system plus, when you can go towards, I think it's a dead end, towards the Steinsee, which is very cool because it's the road next to the big lake when you look down on the system plus.
I saw your post on that. I was like, shit, I missed that.
Exactly. No, but that's the whole thing. And I think that is so cool that you can just discover new things every single time you go back somewhere. So yeah, Dolomites is on the planning. I intend to go to Iceland and the Faroe Islands. I have no idea when, but that is a trip that is going to happen. And I mean, there are so many destinations here in Europe still that I want to discover. I don't have the urge to go overseas that much. Never say never, but yeah, I just like to ride towards my destination. I hate flying. Kind of an understatement. I just don't like to pack everything into suitcase and having someone being able to lose my stuff with me not having control over that. But I don't know. I just like to ride towards my destination. I'd rather ride 5,000-6,000 kilometers than fly 10 hours to get somewhere. So I think that says enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think also Europe has so much, beautiful landscapes, so much possibilities, and it's also
Exactly.
I experienced it like if you have another day, another mindset, another state of mind, then you experience things differently or other things. So you can go somewhere twice or 3 times, and you always have something new to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and Europe is pretty big, and I mean there is so much to discover. Let alone, I'm excluding the Netherlands, but like France and Italy. I've been on a 3-week trip in 2022 through kind of all of Italy, but still, you have seen this, So there's just so much, and I think there's a lot of boxes to cross and a lot of pins to put on that map.
Absolutely.
So here in Europe,
we have to compare maps in some time.
Oh yes. Let's exchange some screenshots, maybe. So there's
cool.
a lot on the list to still visit. It's mainly a time thing. it's really hard to find the time. And documenting these kind of things, I just want to have that time. So for the most of the trips, I already plan ahead like 4 weeks so that I can just take it easy. But you have to be able to go away for 4 weeks, so that's also not very possible every time. But yeah.
Leonoor, great listening to you. Great listening to your stories. I know your bucket list. So you might have to come back and tell about the next trips you did with us. It was really, really nice having you on. And to all the listeners, follow Leonoor on YouTube, on Instagram. We'll put the links in the show notes, especially on YouTube. She has to grow her YouTube followers to the extent that she has on Instagram. No, it's really worth the while. Beautiful stories, beautiful imagery, and really worth a look. Thanks, Leonoor, for being on the show.
Thank you too, guys. It was a real pleasure, and let's keep up with that second episode then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so looking forward, and
you promise
for the 2024 season, all the best. And I'm looking forward to so many cool new pictures and videos, and impressive moments. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for listening, guys, everyone. And let's make a second one. Would be fun.
Cool.
Absolutely.
So I can ask you some more stuff too.
Please do so.
Yeah, cool.
All right, cool.
So okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.